Alright, that's literally it. I thought I had a full charged battery. Now it tells me 13%. Well, that's what I have to work with. So I'm just gonna make this short. Right, I was quite hesitant to leave now. For whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. I was just pushing it off until I felt like it. And that's often the thing, right? Some people think because they don't leave right away, they're never gonna leave at all. But I know by now, no. I'm hesitant because the moment isn't there yet. The energy still has to build up. So when I know that at a certain point I want to leave, then I'm waiting until I feel good about leaving, right? Until all the circumstances seem just about right. For some reason, I had already some clues that I was waiting for the last video to render so that when I leave, I can start rendering another one. And I did. And it's called When Did You Start to Hesitate? And now I can web that into this video and I can ask you, when did you start to hesitate? You know, sometimes I hesitate for a reason, because I realize right now I'm too vulnerable and I'm not that suicidal. Yeah, I have a kind of a death wish, but I also want death to show me, right? Now, there was a bird and it flew like this, and it gave me the feeling I want to walk here now. Do I have to understand this? No. Do I have to explain this? Not really. But it's a hunch. I don't always have to walk the same way. And then I just walk somewhere else. And that to me is as liberating as it can be, because if I can surrender what I'm doing simply into the fact that I'm doing it, then what am I hesitating about? Because maybe you've seen it in that other video where I climbed, I think it's that one, when did you start to hesitate? When I climbed onto this thing and I wanted to jump over, and I said, yeah, but I don't feel like it, because I felt underneath it's like this. Yes, sometimes it's just like that. You can't change it. Sometimes what you feel is sadness. Sometimes what you feel is, you know, I'm hurt. You know, whether I can allow myself to actually feel like this or not is actually out of the question, because you can always allow yourself to feel anything. But there are moments where I couldn't stop to think, but to simply jump over a gap where I know I already hurt myself, if there's no reason, to me is just a little bit stupid. Because why should I do it? You know, if I would do parkour, which to a certain degree I do sometimes, you know, just jumping on things or walking around, I don't have to do professional parkour, but I still, you know how to move my body. You know, sometimes you just say, that is enough for me, right? You know, it was enough for me that I went to the training park, I trained a little. You know, if I go to the boulder hall at the moment and I just let it all out there, you know, that's where I say, that's enough for me, personally. For me, Christopher, you know, I make a choice. I want to jump over this thing. I don't want to jump over this thing. And there are certain things where I don't want to jump. And then there are certain things where I want to jump. I think what we often do is we just lump them all together into I never jump at all anymore. And that's when you start to, you know, you don't even hesitate anymore. It's not even a question for you, because that's just your mode. You just never do anything. And then I say, well, at least when you hesitate, you're trying to do something. Now you just have to find the thing that you actually want to do right now, right? It's like, oh wow, you know, I want to move, but I'm hesitating. All right, so now you have already figured out that you actually want to move, and now you acknowledge that you are indeed hesitating, because the only reason why people hesitate is because they're afraid. So when I didn't jump that thing, sure, I also said it, right? It's like I feel vulnerable. And I don't want to injure myself at the moment because I've already done that in the boulder hall, right? And, you know, I've already had that by countless women. So now I'm a little bit more careful. And I am a little hesitant. Because I do acknowledge that I've been hurt. And that I am, in a certain way, in pain. So I allow myself to heal. So when I know today I have to do something, or I feel like doing something that is even in the slightest way a little bit courageous, then I take my time, I prepare myself, and then I wait, yeah, until I can do it as easily as I can have it for myself personally. Because even leaving the house sometimes, to me, right, is already an act of courage. So I build it up, right? I ask myself, what do I want to do when I leave the house? Today I said, I want to go to the park and slackline. Because I haven't done it in a while. The evenings are bright longer now. So even if I go at 6, right, I still have a bit of light at 8. I mean, that's as much as I need, but now it's also much further to get there, right? It's like it's much further to get to the park where I usually slackline, and that's where I want to be today for whatever reason. And one reason why I'm hesitant to go there is because I'm actually afraid that I won't meet anybody. Because what I really want is to meet someone, you know, that's smoking weed. And I don't even care if he puts tobacco inside of it, right? You know, I would take that as well, which sounds a little bit sad, but it's just the way it is, right? I would just go there and then I would smoke if somebody would offer something to me. And that shows you a little how needy I am sometimes. It disgusts me. But I also say, yeah, that's what it is. Never donate blood, man. It's not for us to decide who's gonna die or not. That's my opinion, right? Like some people, they donate blood because they think, yeah, I'm helping someone. How can you help someone with that mentality? You know, your energy is gonna pump through his veins. You know, when you take the organ of another person and put it into their body, it just doesn't belong there. You know, if life would have wanted, or God or whatever, it would have put it there. So that's just like human tampering, and I don't like this, right? I really don't like it, and I don't get it why people always have to do this. You know, sure, they have their own reasons. You know, this is another park. It's actually quite beautiful. You know, that's the kind of parks we have here in Lunatic. And the problem is, in parks here in Lunatic, that people always let their dog shit everywhere, right? And I don't really like this. Now, I don't think the camera will last. Let's just check. Maybe I'm gonna pause this. It says keep going. Keep going. You know, I'm clinging. I'm telling you. I really have to hold myself together now to just really go to the park. And I think I'm going to the park, but you never know, right? But I have the intention of going to the park And because I said I want to go to the park, what I have to do is go to the park. And sometimes you just have to run over the street. There's too many people, they just piss me off, and I just need a little bit of distance. And there's a fair tonight, you know, like the Kirmes, how they call it in Germany. It's where they have all these auto scooters or bumpers, and where they have all these, how do you call that again? Yeah, like, you know, like the modern circus, only with electricity, right? It's like not humans that can actually do really nice things. Look at this fountain. We have really nice fountains in Lüdenscheid. It's like advertising. Come here. But yeah, rather come here to hike. Right? It's not the place. But you simply come because you say, right? It's like, it's a nice city. Right? It's like, it has its own kind of charm. It has its own kind of charm. Right? I mean, that has its charm. Yeah, they're still nailing Jesus to the cross. Good for them. It's like, you know, I like saying that. You know, why do they still have to nail Jesus to the cross? Why can't they stop with it? I mean, they did it once, and now it's just like a party thing for them. Hey, let's keep doing it. He will still take all our sins. And that's the basic principle of spirituality. Take care of your own shit. You know, don't nail somebody else on the cross. You know, take care of your own shit. Interesting. Right? And that's the thing where I'm always a little bit hesitant, where I say, you know, what does it mean? Well, we're working on it, right? Sometimes it just takes a little bit of a time. I really make sure that there aren't really any people on here that want to be on here. Right? I also say to myself, don't take this stuff because you don't know who it belongs to. And there is, in a way, you could say, karma connected to this. You just have to go straight now. Because I'm like a fish, I'm a bit wiggly. And I'm trying to wiggle out of something, and I don't know what yet. And until I know, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to wiggle out of, I just have to hold myself together and just keep going. Because whatever I'm doing, you know, you never know what's gonna happen. You go somewhere, somebody offers you a joint, you smoke it, it's like, what is going to happen, right? You don't know. There's so many things that could happen, and you don't know what it is. So, yeah, maybe I'm like a trendsetter, and in no time at all, everybody will run around here and make videos, and then that's probably the point where I say, now I'm going to leave. Because if something becomes a hype for people that don't know what they're doing, then that's basically the point where it's going to be boring. Right? It's like, whatever you're doing, you know, be it filming yourself, doing a certain kind of art, you know, if it becomes too much of a hype and everybody starts to copy you, well, yeah, sure, you may continue, but in a certain way, you know, if it starts to piss you off, just stop. Because I don't have to do this kind of art, you know, and that's the beauty of it. I can basically do anything. You know, I can only make movies. I can only do, you know, I could only switch to doing yoga lessons or whatever, right? I decided to do what I'm doing in a kind of modern way. To say, hey, what is all your problem with spirituality? Because I'm following the teachings, the basic teachings of spirituality, which is suffer and grow. Suffer and grow. You have to do your suffering in order to grow as a spirit, right? It's not like I'm not asking for suffering, but this may be a part of suffering. So you go in there and you suffer, but you do it consciously. And that's when the healing starts. Because to suffer for no reason, to me, is just a bit stupid, right? You just have to know why you are suffering. And some people, they just suffer. And then you have people like this, the ambulance, and they like, you know, we're gonna help you. You know, all they're waiting for is for people to injure themselves so that they can go there and say, now I can finally shine. Now I can be the doctor that I came here to be, and I can cut you open and give you the arm of someone else. But I didn't want that. Well, you were unconscious, so here you go. I saved your life. Fuck it. Now I have to live with the arm of somebody else. It's like, yeah, I'd rather die, right? It's like, that's one of my greatest fears. One of the reasons why I actually rather would not have an insurance card or anything. But people are really weird these days. Like, really weird. I sometimes saw it that, you know, people in an ambulance, they come and they think they have to act like they always know what's going on. But when you talk to them, you realize they have no idea what's going on. They just say something and then they keep saying it, but they don't really know, right? It's just like, what are you even saying? You know, these words don't make sense. What they say is, you don't know what spirit is. As you're trying to help me, if you only know 5% of what is going on? Like, are you trying to help me with only 5% of the knowledge that exists? Right? If you don't know about herbs and diet and these kinds of things, then what's your point, right? Why do you even open your mouth and say anything about, you know, I'm healing, I'm helping, I'm doing whatever? Because in order to heal someone, you first have to learn how to heal yourself. And that's usually my point, that if you meet an energy healer, yeah, or a doctor that feels like a little bit stiff, a little bit rigid in their opinions, and a little bit stiff in the way they move, never listen to them, because they don't know what they're talking about. And that's a fact. Because if you don't know how to keep the energy flowing in your own system, then how are you supposed to detect places of energy in another person's body that are stuck? Because you don't know how to channel energy in your own system. So how are you supposed to do that in another one's system? It's impossible, but for that, of course, you first have to open up to the belief and the truth that energy exists. And there is a flow of energy, and that is basically what acupuncture is talking about. And that is basically what acupressure is talking about. You know, you cannot just downsize it all to muscles or upscale it to that, because everything is indeed energy. And sometimes I feel like I vibrate more energy, and sometimes I feel like I vibrated less. I can't say what that has to do with, but I've had instances in my life where I was close to plants and they started to shiver. And I don't know if I was just on a different vibrational level, or whether I was simply different vibrational level, or yeah, I don't know, right? It's like, oh damn it, no, it's like the stinging nettle, right? The stinging nettle stings, and because the stinging nettle stings, I'm a little bit shy of using it, because a couple of times already it just like takes out the pants, and you're still trying to wear them. It's like, that looks nice. So in any case, right, it's like let's check how much. 1% left. It's almost over, Sonny. You know, time with Christopher today comes to an end. But there are, you know, hundreds of hours or millions of hours of content. You know, maybe not now, but certainly in the future. And until then, you know, you just have to do. Probably there's gonna be another video tomorrow, but you know, you can never tell, right? I'm doing it how I feel like it. And that's then probably all there was to it. Wow, where do they put these palms when they're not like in winter? Like you have to store them somewhere. Or maybe they just leave them out. Who knows, right? I mean, there's palm trees, but I don't think they can, you know, German winters aren't really that cold anymore. That's a J. Can't really see it.